Okay, people, this video, this episode, and this video, my video right here, I feel are absolute must watches for longtime fans of not only Boruto, Naruto. Like, if you was rocking with ForneverWorld back in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, when I was doing those Naruto reviews, the chapters of the 4th grade Shinobi War and all that jazz, I feel like this one is one of those times where come back and let's chat a little bit at the very least, because this is an episode I feel, even if you don't watch Boruto, even if you despise Boruto, continuity wise, this still exists and this still happened, and this is the best episode, the saddest episode, the climax of Boruto, hands down, bar none. I keep it a beam with you guys. I cried for 5 to 10 minutes while watching this episode. Don't care, not feeling shame by any means when it comes to that, because this episode was so freaking emotional. This episode wrapped up something huge from a lot of people's, childhoods, a lot of people's young adult life. Like, this was so freaking huge, and there's gonna be some people that don't like it because at the end of the day, even though people want, stakes to be high and all sorts of stuff to actually happen in a Boruto series, then when actually stuff happens, people are like, no! And I get it. It's an emotional knee-jerk reaction, a knee-jerk response, and sometimes people don't want to call it for what it is because, hey, this was the best episode of Boruto. This was hands down the saddest episode. It gave you a little bit of everything. Not only the stuff that we're going to definitely dive and dissect regarding Naruto and Kurama, but some of the other stuff of what makes Boruto, that is not only the Naruto and Sasuke stuff, but also the Kawaki situation, Boruto, everything that Boruto encompasses was present in this episode, on 10 in this episode, and crazy in this episode, and sad in this episode. It was an emotional roller coaster, up, down, and hands down, we got to talk about it. So whether you're a new ForneverWorld viewer, you've been a long time, you're just coming back around, you ain't seen my face in years, let's talk about our favorite knuckleheaded ninja and his companion that we have to say goodbye to. Let's do it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
So from the top of the episode, Kawaki, in case you don't know about Kawaki, he's been through some stuff, okay, people? Because again, I want to make this video friendly to people that are not only caught up, but also people maybe you just came out of nowhere. Kawaki, he's been through a lot of really messed up stuff thanks to this guy, this Otsutsuki creature that you're seeing on the damn screen. Yeah, he's been through some stuff, but he came out of hiding in this battlefield, and essentially, immediately, Isshiki Otsutsuki jumps to him and grabs him by the neck and starts choking, and he's just happy. He's like, yes, because his time was about to run out, which it's crazy to think of how much of an effect Baryon mode really had. Like I said in the last week, and I'll say it again, Baryon mode is something different. It's essentially a bargain, an equivalent exchange, so to speak. Think like FMA, you know what I'm saying? Full Metal Alchemist, where it's exchanging one life to get rid of somebody else's life, and that's why Isshiki went from he had 48 hours to he's crumbling to dust almost throughout the episode. And Isshiki almost immediately puts a new karma on Kawaki, thinking like, yo, it's a wrap, I won, I'm about to be able to be reborn, I'm not gonna, because again, he's crumbling to dust at this point, his time is running out, but he put the new karma mark, which essentially is a revival for him via Kawaki's body. Think Orochimaru, when he would put the curse mark and be able to return through Sasuke, that's essentially what the karma mark is, and he puts it on Kawaki, and he thinks, I've won, lad, and I'm like, okay, because I ain't gonna lie, as a manga reader, I can 100% say that this episode surpassed the manga almost entirely. I would argue maybe the manga did the Sasuke scenes a little bit more epically, but that also could be because they took a bunch of chapters and put it into this episode. That was like a chapter per chapter basis where you get the big cliffhanger of, oh my god, what just happened? What did Boruto just do to Sasuke? But aside from that, I feel like the anime superseded and surpassed the manga with this episode, hands down, bar none. Probably even last episode, to be honest with you, just because Bariyama was so epic, but definitely this episode, the anime outdid the manga, which is crazy because the manga was a 10 out of 10 at this point, and the anime did just that as well, if not, again, beyond. But the karma mark disappears, and Isshiki is there, like, ready to, rage, like, what the hell is going on after he just put it on Kawaki, and something that, again, connects and intertwines to everything that Boruto's been building up. A lot of those anime canon episodes add to this feeling that you get when you find out that that was actually a shadow clone. So Kawaki, the kid kid that looks up to, inspires, pretty much lives because of the 7th Hokage Naruto. His signature technique, Naruto's move, his first jutsu that he ever even freaking learned in Naruto. Crazy enough, Kawaki's first jutsu, or first realistic, you know what I'm saying, real hardcore jutsu that he's able to do, the Shadow Clone Jutsu, he uses it, and ultimately that's why the karma mark disappeared, because he put it on a Shadow Clone and not the real Kawaki. So Kawaki just right now used deduction, planning, strategy, and Shadow Clone all within this big climactic battle, and it all was really, really awesome, and at the end of the day made sense. And it's crazy to think that he used the person that he looks up to signature technique, and it was the perfect idea, and how he took out Isshiki Otsutsuki, because Isshiki just starts crumbling at that particular point. The Shadow Clone disappears, and Kawaki jumps after talking trash, because that's something that is core to Kawaki's character. I don't feel like it translates that well from Japanese to English, and what I mean by that is I still don't really feel like Kawaki's this foul-mouthed person the way like the Japanese look at him. The Japanese look at him like, whoa, Kawaki's he's a bad boy. He talks a lot of crap. He was talking crap, but I just didn't feel like, whoa, you know, Kawaki's this badass the way he's talking. But he did send Isshiki to his grave after straight up shitting on him and saying, oh yeah, you know, the vessel is taking you out. How do you feel now, fam? So it was a little bit, you know, he had a little bit of bark there with his bite, so I'll give him that. And dude thought he had on some Timbs because he stomped him out. That was the end of Isshiki Otsutsuki, which I feel like to a certain degree, it kind of feels like a rewrite of something, because I felt initially for the longest time that the reason Boruto got the karma mark was solely because he killed an Otsutsuki. Remember when Boruto got the karma mark from Momoshiki? I thought it was just, if you kill an Otsutsuki, automatically that mark goes on to you. But apparently, again, and maybe it's just that it wasn't clear back then or whatnot, because you would think that automatically Kawaki stomping out Isshiki right there would put the karma mark on him. But I guess maybe something that wasn't really included per se was showcasing the moment that Momoshiki put the karma mark on Boruto. Because again, for the longest time, I just thought you kill a god, you get cursed with the mark. But either way, he stomped him out, and that's the climax ending of the biggest and best arc of Boruto right there. Like, that moment right there was the climax of Kara, you know, the whole menacing group that they've been, the leader of it all, in a very, very epic way. And at the same time, just very fitting of the kid that was tormented, tortured by them, you know, that found love, so to speak, from a family, you know, Naruto and stuff like that, using what was taught to him, the little times that he did train in jutsu and stuff like that, to outsmart and outmaneuver this piece of crap known as Jigen, aka Isshiki Otsutsuki. It was almost like a proud, you know, father-son moment when he runs over to Naruto and he's like, yeah, you know, I was barely able to make it, but I managed to do a Shadow Clone, and that's how I did. Like, it's clear as day. Like, you know, to him, that's pops. Like, oh my god, look, father, you got to see me. I actually did it, you know, I took care of him. So that was really a heartwarming moment. And again, the whole setup of the way the anime's been thus far, even, you know, the opening when you get that visual, that very sad, because we know the future of Kawaki and whatnot, but that very sad visual of Naruto, Boruto, Himawari, Hinata, all of them together with Kawaki, like, it kind of sets the stage for moments like this that make it even more impactful of like, this is one of those moments like, Dad, I did it, Dad, you saw it, I did it. However, before they can go off to celebrate, suddenly a flying Raijin shows up. Boruto flies through with a kunai in hand, stabbing Sasuke in his Rinnegan, essentially eliminating Sasuke's legendary ocular power. And I remember in the manga, people were very upset about this. They said this doesn't make sense. How could Boruto do this? For starters, when Boruto is on his Boroshiki thing, and I think a lot of that criticism came from people that haven't been reading the manga to understand that Boroshiki is not Boruto. Boroshiki is what if Boruto, like you could argue, is at the peak that he probably ever will be, or close somewhere there, because he's just completely different. Way stronger, way faster, way more articulate. He has a freaking Byakugan. Like, this is a very different being. And on top of that, Sasuke has had the living crap beat out of him from this battle that he just had against Isshiki Otsutsuki, and that's saying that he probably didn't heal all the way either from the previous battle against Jigen. Same person, but, you know, just stronger being or whatever. Like, yo, Sasuke is completely out of it. He just got the living crap kicked out of him. Just last episode, again, he was getting choked out and stuff. Like, yeah, Sasuke is going to be completely caught off guard when, not to mention the anime has added a million times that Sasuke is always like, oh, mate, I don't got no chakra, lad. Where's me chakra, mate? Like, yeah, Sasuke, that dude, he's going to get caught off guard by a Momoshiki possessed Boruto. It's gonna happen. But that's where the part I'll say that the manga, I feel, maybe did it better. For starters, the anime didn't show blood. Like, yo, you just got stabbed through your eye, lost your whole eye. There should be a puddle of blood flying through your eye right now, the eye socket and stuff. So that's something I'll say that the manga did better. Also, it just felt more of a shocker in the manga because that was like the end of a chapter and you're left there thinking, what the heck just happened? This was kind of in the midst of all of this situation, and it was also handled within the same episode, so I didn't feel that same energy. It could be also that since I already read it, I wasn't that, surprised or shocked, so maybe that also is attributing to my, kind of outlook on this right now. And if you're an anime only, please feel free to tell me, like, did it take you completely by surprise and it was like the craziest thing you've ever seen? And how do you feel about it being an anime only? Because I know how the manga readers felt about it. They were very, very upset about Sasuke getting caught off guard by Momoshiki, even though, again, it made sense. Like, did you not see what happened in the Boro fight with Momoshiki? Hello! And Moroshiki's plans now is that, hey, Kawaki, he's 80% Otsutsuki at this point. Even though the karma mark is no longer there, his body is damn near almost completely Otsutsuki. I could still sacrifice him to the tree, get a small chakra fruit, and, live it up. So that's pretty much his plan at that particular point, which also means that as long as that karma mark is on Boruto, that's Moroshiki's plan. And also R.I.P. Rinnegan, because Moroshiki's like, bet, now the eye ain't going nowhere. I got rid of y'all Uber ride between dimensions. It's gone. Because that's pretty much what Sasuke has been relegated to in Boruto, like a fancy Uber ride through dimensions. Hey! And after a little bit of combat of Sasuke trying to hit him with jutsu, Sasuke quickly, using that intellect that he has, deduces that, wait a minute, he's not absorbing the jutsu like the Otsutsuki and like Momoshiki has done in the past, being able to absorb stuff. He's avoiding the attacks instead of absorbing it, even going as far as to hit him with a Materasu or attempting to. And that also is a very, very lovely demonstration of how, even though that's his pupil and Momoshiki tells him, like, you're not going to be able to do nothing, you ain't going to kill your pupil, Sasuke's like, oh, you want to bet? And tries to hit him with an Amaterasu, the ever-burning flame, even though it never really connected to anybody or did anything. But yeah, that technique, yeah. And Momoshiki again dodges it, uses shadow clones, everything to get out of the way, which ultimately leads to Sasuke realizing, oh, he don't want to absorb chakra because then that'll awaken Boruto and his whole plans will be thwarted. So that's why he's trying to avoid the attack instead of just completely absorbing it, which would be, the more efficient way. And again, this is something that I got to keep on stressing, that even though, again, the Naruto Next Generations portion of this story is active with what Naruto just did last episode and what Sasuke was doing in this episode, it still goes back to the Boruto, because then the person that actually outmaneuvers Boruto in this whole aspect is Kawaki, trying to hit him with a fire jutsu, ultimately forcing Boroshiki's hand to absorb the technique and slowly waking up Boruto. So again, it goes back and forth between the title of the show, Boruto, Naruto, Next Generations. If the show was just called Boruto, I would understand some people's gripes. That's why some people have the gripes with the manga as well. The show is called Boruto, Naruto, Next Generation. So you're going to cut from Naruto's generation, Naruto and Sasuke, back to Boruto, and this episode did just that. Like when I started this video saying that this episode encompassed, everything that Boruto has set up, everything that Boruto has been thus far, this is just that. And following Boruto awakening from his slumber, he looks and he quickly deduces, like, okay, I gotta break this horn off my head, and breaks the horn off of his head, basically putting Momoshiki back into bed, tucking him in, putting him to night-night, and ending this short-lived 5-minute reign of terror from Momoshiki, which again, that's why I say, like, that moment probably entirely just felt a little bit better in the manga, because we had the whole chapter, and then we had to wait a month again to get it, and this was all kind of done within a few minutes in the episode, but it wasn't, like, rushed or anything like that. I'm not saying that the anime was bad by any means. It was actually great. It was fantastic. It's just maybe that feeling I got of suspense and shock for the first time with the manga. Again, anime onlys might not feel any of what I'm saying, so understand that this is my experience I'm speaking of in particular when it comes to that scene, because it was still epic as hell in the anime as well. And following that, like I said, it was a roller coaster, fam. We cut from bam, bam, bam. Then it seems as though Naruto is looking dead on the ground. What the hell is going on? And we cut to the best part of the episode, and the best part, the saddest part, the most intense part, just every emotion you could think of, well, minus laughter, I guess you could say, even though there was a little laughter in there as well. Yeah, it was really every emotion. You get into Naruto's inner world where he and Kurama are at. Notice the lighting is very different. It's more like a light bluish white combination there. It's not, the green dinginess of when he used to go and visit Kurama and whatnot. And basically they're having their goodbyes, because Naruto is still under the impression that they're both about to die, that they're both, saying their goodbyes at this point. And the whole scene was impactful. I ain't gonna lie. I kept on crying. I don't care. Call me bitch me, whatever you want to say. I really was going through it, because you feel it, again, and I gotta stress, this is why I said for Naruto fans, if you watched me back in the day, you know that camaraderie that Naruto had, you know, seeing for the first time him and the fox, you know, teaming up together, seeing everything, just the adventure of Naruto is what makes that moment. Like, if you're just a Boruto only, which I don't know why would you do that, but if you're just a Boruto only, you may not feel what all of us are feeling. Like, I straight up was just there. I couldn't stop tearing up because, you know, on top of that, when you start to relate to losing somebody that you care about, somebody that means everything to you, and Naruto facing that right there, that reality for a moment, not even realizing what exactly is going on, him thinking that they're both going to the afterlife, and all the scenes that they showcased of from Naruto to Shippuden, the last, every freaking moment that led up until this point. Oh my god, it was an overwhelming abundance of emotion, to say the least. And then Kurama hits Naruto over the head with, I guess I kind of, you know, misled you, but I didn't really lie per se. Like, you're not the one that's dying. It's me. That was the cost of the Barya mode. And this is something else that in the manga I didn't necessarily get. I want to say in the anime this might be the case. I hope not. I hope one day Kurama can rise again and Himawari can maybe be the Jinchuriki or something, or just have him as a pet or something like that. But the way it was explained, it almost felt like Kurama ain't going to return. Like, you know how it was said long ago that the tail beasts, they don't really die. They're like natural disasters. They basically get reborn if they die. The way Kurama said it is, I don't die. Like, right here was about to happen. I'm not going to die. My chakra is just going to disappear. So it's not even that he's going to die, which that would mean that he's not going to go into the state that he needs to in order to reincarnate. So Kurama might not return, which, oh my god. Woo. And that scene, because just in general, when Naruto's reaching out to him and they're doing the bro fist and he's getting the explanation and everything, but when he starts to completely float into the air and Naruto starts, you know, with the tears in his eyes and his voice crackling, saying, don't go. Oh my god. And so appropriate too, the way it leads into his son, Naruto's son, the, you know, what means the most to him at this point in his life, him reaching out to Kurama saying don't go, and awakening to his son there saying, Dad, I thought I lost you, and them having that moment. Like, woo, this was the best episode of Boruto, bar none. I don't care what anyone tells me. This was the best episode, the most emotional episode. It combined everything from this entire legacy, this entire franchise, this entire conglomerate that Naruto has become in one emotional roller coaster ride of an episode. Honestly, man. R.I.P. Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, man, from episode 1 of Naruto, when we saw you tearing up the village and we thought you was the most harshest creature in the world, to eventually befriending Naruto and understanding you had your own pain and your own mistrust of ninja as well. This episode, it hit beyond different. To say it hit different is an understatement. It was a moment. It was not even just a moment. It was... I can't even think of the words, I'll be honest with you. It was just that impactful, to say the least. And the episode ends there, which they did a great, fantastic job, honestly. Like, if Boruto ended right here, honestly, I would be like, holy shit, talk about an amazing finale. Talk about a way to end the series. If it ended right there, I would have no complaints, to be honest with you, in terms of they wrapped it up perfectly, because, that was sad. But I'm very curious what you guys think about this episode. For starters, how do you feel about the way Isshiki Otsutsuki was defeated, with Kawaki outsmarting him, with Kawaki basically outmaneuvering him using jutsu that he learned from his surrogate father Naruto? How did you feel about Momoshiki taking out the Rasengan? Sasuke is now one-eyed. Notice how the theme of Naruto continues, where something happens to Sasuke, something happens to Naruto. Sasuke loses his eye, his Rinnegan, one of his eyes. Naruto loses his big power-up Kurama, which is also going to immensely weaken him moving forward. Your thoughts on that whole situation, and did you cry, and how emotional did you feel in general with the ending, saying goodbye to the nine-tailed fox Kurama? R.I.P. man. It's almost like losing a best friend. It's almost like losing, you know, one of your most loyal people around, somebody that he was with since birth. It's yeah, I don't know. I've been speechless throughout this video a couple of different times because it hit different. And if you were somebody that you haven't watched my channel in a million years, but you came through to see what the whole hoopla was about, thank you. Thank you for being around all those years ago. Thank you for being around now. If you're a new viewer and you're just now, you know, discovering ForneverWorld, thank you for coming through. Thank you for everybody that's been watching. This was this was an iconic moment in this whole franchise and this whole series. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And once again, R.I.P. Kurama. What a ride it's been, man. What a ride Naruto is. What a ride Boruto has been. Until we meet again, have an awesome one.
What I know.